Hello, my name is Marva Ward. I'm the product educator for the Now brand in Canada. Well, welcome to my presentation on amino acids. Typically, we think about this category specific to the bodybuilder, the sports enthusiast, or the sports-minded individual. However, amino acids offer an array of possibilities in many different healing protocols, and hopefully today I will be able to provide you with some information that you can take away to use on your use with your clients and to recommend to your customers. Number of different amino acids that we'll speak about today, and based on number of different possible health issues or recovery in different health situations. Amino acids as an overview. There's 22 naturally occurring amino acids. 20 of them are called proteinogenic. They're part of the overall process of gene expression, and they're involved in precisely the building blocks of the human body. They're proteins, hormones, antioxidants, neurotransmitters, all of which have a foundation of amino acids. They're necessary for structural support, tissue growth, immune support, and nerve transmission, just to mention a few things that they are responsible for. Essential and non-essential and conditionally essential amino acids categorize these 20 proteinogenic amino acids. 9 essential are sourced through our food. 11 non-essential are synthesized in the body from utilization of the one or several of the 9 essential amino acids, as well as other minerals and nutrients combined to create the non-essential amino acid. L versus D forms. Both forms are amino acids. The L form is naturally occurring, and it's found in the human body. L amino acids are named for the direction in which they move under light. When they're studied, they move to the left, and when they're studied, move to the left. It's known that this is a natural occurring amino acid. D forms polarize to the right, and D forms are sold commercially. They're synthetic, they're man-made, and not readily incorporated into the proteins in the human body. The human body is not really partial to these synthetic amino acids, and in some cases they're quite detrimental to the body as well. There's certain amino acids that do not polarize by light in either direction, and you certainly know about taurine and glycine. These are specific examples, so consequently they do not have the prefix L before them, or D, but you certainly know that when you're looking at a taurine or glycine in a health food store, that this is a naturally occurring, and it's naturally sourced. The central nervous system, the entire body, cannot function properly without amino acids. They are necessary for brain function, sending and receiving information. They're necessary for nearly every aspect of life. Individual amino acids low or missing affects the availability of all other amino acids, and they will proportionately be reduced as well. This imbalance may lead to a state of disease, and it certainly does, because hopefully what I'll show you today is how to bring them back from that imbalance to a state of homeostasis. Supplementation is profoundly effective and very therapeutic, and certainly a perfect option in support as dietary sources. Supplemental sources. Amino acids. 9 amino acids that must be obtained through the food are histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, and valine. As you can see on the slide, that there are asterisks behind or at the end of 3 of these amino acids: isoleucine, leucine, and valine. These are branch chain amino acids, and they really deserve a little bit of I would guess a bow because they are produced and utilized differently in the body, and I'll speak about that in a moment. Non-essential amino acids are synthesized in the body through the utilization of essential amino acids as well as other nutrients. Alanine, arginine, asparagine, asparic acid, cysteine, glutamic acid, glutamine, glycine, proline, serine, and tyrosine. Now you'll notice on the slide as well, slide number 7, that there are asterisks beside some of them. Arginine, cysteine, glycine, proline, serine, and tyrosine. These are called conditionally essential amino acids. When the body requires more than what the body is making, the body becomes in a state of deficiency with that specific amino acid, and this can cause health issues. Because the body makes this conditionally essential amino acid, and it is not typically received through our food, as I say, if the body isn't making enough of it, then it puts us into a state of deficiency, and that's why it's called conditionally essential, because you then have to supplement in order to regain your stores. Asterisks beside 3 of those amino acids, arginine, cysteine, and tyrosine, is simply as an FYI that these are essential in infants and non-essential in adults. Amino acids are not just building blocks of our protein and not just proteinogenic, but they are also neurotransmitters, precursors, and hormones. So they may not be included in the proteinogenic 20 amino acids that I've just spoken about. However, they are referred to as amino acids, and they're extremely important. SAMe, N-acetylcysteine, 5-HTP, GABA, theanine, etc., taurine and carnitine, all of which I'll speak about in detail today. Amino acid sources, from a manufacturing perspective, there are vegetarian sources that we get, and there's also non-vegetarian sources for our raw materials. Vegetarian sources are typically 5-HTP, some arginine, glutamine, histidine, lysine, methionine, ornithine, phenylalanine, proline, taurine, theanine, tryptophan, and valine. Our non-vegetarian sources are sometimes arginine, branched-chain amino acids isoleucine, leucine, and then cysteine, N-acetylcysteine, and tyrosine. Methods of extraction. This is really to clarify what our raw material suppliers, how they're extracting. For the most part, it's a fermentation. It's a fermentation extraction. There can be an enzymatic catalyst. It can be extracted from natural sources and chemical synthesis. Thinking about the way the body creates amino acids, it is through chemical synthesis. It's through synthesizing different nutrients in chemical forms that create the amino acid. However, as I'd mentioned, the primary extraction process is fermentation. We often hear the terms free-form amino acids, peptide-bonded, branched-chain amino acids. Free-form amino acids are not bound to any other amino acid. They're quickly absorbed in the bloodstream, and in order really to be effective, in many cases, they're not taken with food, and they're very effective when they're not taken with food. You're going to see as we carry on that I'll speak about taking this amino acid for this result on an empty stomach. And although athletes and professionals, sports professionals, will take free form as an addition to their peptide bonded forms, to get a specific result, they also take them on empty stomachs to get specific results as well, and I will clarify that as we carry on. Peptide bond is typically what you're getting in all of the protein that you're eating, in your protein shakes, your eggs you might be eating, even peptide bonded plant proteins as well. Every amino acid, when you eat it in a food, is attached to something called a peptide bond. Now you get complete proteins, which are in all of your meat, your eggs, and quinoa is a complete protein, and soy is a complete protein. All of the 9 essential amino acids are bound to a peptide bond, and when you take it into your body, in the stomach, the hydrochloric acid will break down the peptide bonds and release the amino acids into single forms. Those are then passed through into the small intestine, where they're broken down more by pancreatic enzymes and other enzymes. Once they are completely free-formed, they are then sent into the bloodstream to the liver, and the liver either will work on them a little bit more and then distribute them, or distribute them throughout the body wherever they're needed. Branched chain amino acids are a different story. Although they are peptide bonded initially, once they're released from the small intestine into the bloodstream, they're synthesized in the muscle and not in the liver, and this makes them profoundly therapeutic on many levels. Branched chain amino acids not being synthesized in the liver and taken up by the muscle have, as I say, profound health benefits. These 3 essential amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, and valine, influence either preventing or reducing muscle breakdown, preventing muscle wasting, helping with hemoglobin formation, influencing neurotransmitting uptake. But the key driver of branched chain amino acids are the fact that they're synthesized in the muscle, and they create more muscle tissue. They prevent muscle breakdown. So this has a far-reaching effect on individuals with muscle wasting diseases such as Lou Gehrig's disease. Lou Gehrig's disease. These are branched chain amino acids are having a really great benefit to individuals that are diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease, because it's slowing down the process of the disease. Compromised liver, in the sense of a liver disease or cirrhosis of the liver, when branched chain amino acids are added to their regime, it slows down the process of the disease, and the consequences are not as severe. Anorexia, where I found a lot of information and a lot of studies, is anorexia that is induced from cancer patients, where their inability to eat has caused them to be anorexic. Including branched chain amino acids at, I think they were saying 4 grams, 5 grams a day, was very, very effective in helping to prevent the muscle wasting and help to reduce tissue breakdown. The now branched chain amino acids are available in 60 and 120 caps, but also in 340 gram powder. It's important to note that they are quite bitter in taste, so in the powder it's best to mask them in something like an orange juice if possible, or a pineapple juice, and something that it would not be a protein, and once again on an empty stomach. Amino Complete is something that's pretty exclusive to now. We've created a combination of whey, casein, and soy protein enhanced with arginine, glutamine, and B6, incorporating this into a capsule form so it's an alternative source of protein. Very, very popular with our athletes that buy our sports products, as well as our sports enthusiasts, but there certainly is application for many people. I've had a phone call few months ago from a retailer saying that they were looking for our amino complex specifically for an elderly person that just was not getting enough protein in the form of food, yet they would be more than willing to take it in a capsule form. And we have this amino complex in 120 and 360 capsules. Lysine is an essential amino acid, profoundly effective for immune support, but is also very important for collagen formation. Immune support, we know that 1 to 2 grams per day in outbreaks of herpes simplex virus, it's very effective in stopping it in its tracks. However, lysine, and this is not so well known, it aids in the absorption of calcium from the intestinal tract, and it stops calcium from being lost in the kidneys and out through the urine. And so for individuals with osteopenia, or to perhaps possibly even preventing osteoporosis, lysine at 2,000 milligrams, I do believe it was 2,000 milligrams twice a day, was profoundly effective in aiding in calcium loss, aiding in preventing calcium loss. Tyrosine is phenylalanine, the essential amino acid, is a precursor to tyrosine. So tyrosine is made from phenylalanine, and it is tyrosine is very, very important for mood and for stress because it is the precursor to dopamine, and dopamine in turn converts to norepinephrine and ultimately epinephrine. So it is important to have sufficient levels of tyrosine, particularly in times of stress or high stress. And you'll notice that tyrosine is often one of the main ingredients in an adrenal support product, specifically because of the fact that it is a precursor to dopamine, and it does calm you down. Tyrosine is imperative in the production of our thyroid hormones T4 and T3. It works with iodine, and without proper amounts of tyrosine, you will not be able to make proper levels of hormones. I think what's so exciting about all of this is we start to see a pattern that many people's issues may be something as simple as deficiency in a specific amino acid. And you can see it here with the possibility of T4, levels of T4 and T3 could be simply an issue with tyrosine, or maybe a combination of tyrosine and iodine. And I think it's pretty exciting to know that we can give a customer or a client tyrosine and iodine and perhaps solve their thyroid issue. Tyrosine is used in many ADD and ADHD formulas as well. It controls anxiety and the reaction to stress. Its antioxidant effect, one of its antioxidant effects, is that it is a precursor to the creation of CoQ10 as well. We have tyrosine in 60 and 120 cap, 500 milligram. L-arginine. L-arginine is present in meats, nuts, and dairy. It's readily synthesized in the body. However, again, it's a conditionally essential amino acid because more is needed in periods of growth and stress and trauma. Your athlete is using arginine for human growth hormone production because it stimulates the pituitary gland to secrete human growth hormone. It's also very effective in boosting the immune system by stimulating the thymus gland and increasing T cells. One of the key one of the key jobs of arginine, it aids in the metabolism of ammonia during protein breakdown. Ammonia is a natural byproduct of protein breakdown. However, it's toxic, and it's arginine that helps to detoxify it and eliminate it from the body. It's I think with arginine, which is really exciting, is that number one, it increases nitric oxide production. And in fact, arginine is the sole precursor to nitric oxide. And in saying that, it's nitric oxide is what regulates our blood pressure. If we have low nitric oxide, we often have high blood pressure. So again, here's one of those, in my opinion, a light bulb moment where it may be simply an individual that is deficient in arginine at certain times, particularly times of stress. They say that your Blood pressure goes up in times of stress, absolutely. Your utilization of amino acids like arginine your need is increased as well in times of stress. So by increasing the intake of arginine and increasing nitric oxide production, you will automatically lower your blood pressure in most cases. So my understanding is 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams up to 3 times a day that provides the blood pressure lowering effect of what a pharmaceutical blood pressure lowering pharmaceutical would offer. We have arginine in many different SKUs. 500 milligram, 100 and 250 capsules, 1,000 milligram, 120 tablets. We have it in pure powder because if you're taking 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams 3 times a day, far more efficient to take it and far more economical to take it in a powder form. Ornithine is a partner with arginine, L-ornithine. Although it's not within the proteinogenic amino acids, it supports the production and release of human growth hormone, as does L-arginine. It has an effect on insulin as well. Its central role is in the urea cycle with the detoxification of ammonia, as I had mentioned that L-arginine does that as well. It converts to the amino acids citrulline, glutamic acid, and proline, and it is vital in the formation of creatine. When athletes are taking this, they're taking it primarily because of the urea cycle detoxification aspect, but also because of its potent human growth hormone stimulation from the pituitary gland. Taken at bedtime on an empty stomach, it also aids in fat metabolism through the liver, and it helps the body to convert excess body fat and energy. Helga Clark, in her liver gallbladder detoxification regime, says that without L-ornithine you have a miserable night, and L-ornithine is very effective in this whole process of liver detoxification. When you take ornithine, you take it 3 to 4 hours after eating, because ornithine, if you take it with food, its fat burning properties become a weight gaining property, and so it is a muscle building and fat burning product, but it must be taken away from food, as I say, 3 to 4 hours away from food. Ornithine 500 milligrams, 60 and 1 caps. We have a combination arginine-ornithine, which is not surprising because of the fact that they really are partners, stimulating production of human growth hormone, increasing strength, mass, and energy. This would be also a good cardiovascular support because of its because of the arginine, of course, and nitric oxide. But then again, it's also going to help with liver support as far as ornithine is concerned as well. 100 to 250 caps. 100 cap bottle or a 250 cap bottle. Glutamine is the most abundant amino acid in the human body, yet it's considered conditionally essential. We use glutamine for many different aspects of metabolic function, and although it is an amino acid that is abundant, we use more of it often than what we're making. Some of the attributes of glutamine is that for any situation of recovery, whether it's athletic or otherwise, glutamine is imperative. It reduces the degradations of the joints as well because it helps to build glucosamine. But if we're thinking about its recovery or its wound healing properties, if you consider the athlete who is working out, breaking down muscle tissue, after they work out, they have their protein, and they often take excess glutamine and carnitine for muscle repair because their recovery is much faster when they accompany it with a good dose of glutamine. Wound healing properties the same. It will speed recovery after surgery. If you've been in surgery and you would want your wounds to heal quicker, you would take probably about 10,000 milligrams of glutamine a day, minimum. When we speak about its wound healing properties, it has profound wound healing properties within the gut, and we know that because it's a staple in a leaky gut protocol. It controls sugar cravings, 10 to 15,000 milligrams per day, broken up throughout the day. And for the treatment of alcohol addiction, they're using it as well. And it makes a great deal of sense, because if it's going to control sugar and carbohydrate cravings in certain dosing, it's going to also be able to address the alcohol cravings somewhat as well. Usually 5,000 milligrams, a minimum of 3 times a day. But the one thing I love about glutamine that it isn't spoken about enough is its amazing immune support faculties, because the small intestine, the main food for the good bacteria in the small intestine, the primary food source is glutamine. Also in our small intestine, in the ileum, the third part of the intestine, are our Peyer's patches, which is our immune system. The Peyer's patches, their main source of food and energy as well is glutamine. So if individuals come into your store and they feel that they can't get rid of a cold or flu, or they even feel one coming on, usually the most effective approach is aggressive amounts of glutamine, 5,000 milligrams 3 times a day on an empty stomach. It will often stop that virus or bug in its tracks, or in a situation where someone is having difficulty getting rid of a virus or a bug, again applying encouraging them to take L-glutamine at the doses that I just stated will probably help them get over the hump and finally get rid of the bug. Glutathione is a tripeptide. It's cysteine, glycine, and glutamate. Glutathione is in our form, in a supplemental form, is reduced, and so you're getting the reduced form. And I bring this to your attention because when glutathione initially came out in the 80s, and 90s, there was a lot of talk about it being too large of a molecule for the body to absorb, and so consequently the serum levels might raise, but the tissue levels of glutathione did not raise, and in fact left the body very quickly. Satira is the company where we get our raw materials from. They're from Japan. They supply us with our glutathione. They have worked for decades in resolving this issue by providing a reduced form of glutathione, and the studies that they have to support their claims as well are abundant on their website. So you could certainly simply Google their name, Satira, and Satira glutathione, and you will get a lot of very interesting studies and results. It's glutathione is #1 for detoxification in the liver and as an overall body antioxidant. The higher your glutathione stores, the longer you're going to live. It's just been shown time after time. The consistently low levels result in disease, and glutathione taken as a supplement is one way to raise your glutathione stores. We have a 60 veggie cap, 250 milligram per capsule, but we've also just launched a 500 milligram as well. L-carnitine, a conditionally essential amino acid, is synthesized from the essential amino acids methionine and lysine. However, it is produced in the body, and it must be in the presence of specific cofactors: vitamin C, B3, B6, and iron. L-carnitine is essential for transporting long-chain fatty acids across the mitochondrial membrane. And what does this do? It provides the application to create ATP, which is our energy source, which is the body's energy source, and this is created in the mitochondria of the cells. This act of making ATP has a recycling process that is dependent on L-carnitine. But L-carnitine also, it has profound antioxidant components to it as well. Its protective effect against lipid peroxidation with the phospholipid membranes, and every cell, every organelle has a phospholipid membrane. It also reduces oxidative stress in the myocardial and the endothelial cell level. And it has been shown to be very effective for individuals who have cardiovascular disease in preventing heart attacks. When supplementing with it. L-carnitine, multiple applications in multiple forms. I have noted the propional L-carnitine. This is something that's being used in Europe, but in North America for cardiovascular, it's finding that the carnitine tartrate is equally as effective. Carnitine tartrate is the most widely studied for muscle and recovery and for weight loss, and acetyl L-carnitine is a form of carnitine that's formed by circulating carnitine in the body, attaching itself to an acetyl-CoA in the mitochondria. Ultimately, when carnitine is acetyl L-carnitine, it can then pass the blood-brain barrier, and all of the energy effects, the antioxidant effects of L-carnitine are realized then in the brain as well. L-carnitine is well known for its ability to increase energy, and when I came across this study that was done with centenarians, and the ability for L-carnitine to raise their energy levels, I had to include this in the training. This was a study that evaluated 66 centenarians, individuals over 100 years old, and it evaluated the efficacy of levocarnitine on their physical and mental fatigue. Levo simply means oral carnitine, as well as their cognitive function. And these are for individuals, I have to remind you, over 100 years old. They were given this was a double-blind two-phase study. You had 32 of the individuals were taking carnitine once a day, 2 grams. 34 of them were taking a placebo. Serum levels of cholesterol, HDL, LDL, mini mental state examinations were done, a 6-minute walking corridor test, and the results were quite profound. The individuals that were taking the carnitine had a phenomenal increase in energy, significant differences in the short chain and long chain acetyl L-carnitine components in the body. And fatigue. Their fatigue was remarkable. They had a remarkable recovery. So I think what the take home for this is that if individuals that are over 100 years old are taking 2 grams of carnitine per day and are benefiting from the increase in ATP, then certainly individuals half that age will find similar or even better results. Carnitine tartrate, as I'd mentioned, is the most well-researched form of carnitine in the world. The company that we get our raw materials from is Lonza, and they have a trademarked carnitine called Carnipure. We have been getting our carnitine from them since we've had carnitine, which is easily 15 years. And the reason that we chose them is because they were the first company to be able to make an L-carnitine that did not contain any D-carnitine. 500 milligrams, 60 V-caps, as well as 180 V-caps, and we also have L-carnitine in 1,000 milligrams, 100 caps. The recommended daily dose for energy production, just simply trying to support for energy, is 2,000 milligrams. However, in speaking with a Carnipure representative, he said that they had just completed some studies where the individuals were taking 1,000 milligrams a day, and they were able to measure higher levels of ATP production, which is pretty remarkable. We also have a liquid carnitine in both citrus and berry flavored. It's again the Carnipure trademark. The Lonza company is making it in the 1,000 milligrams per 15 mils in which is a tablespoon. But we also include some cofactors. We include B5 and B6. B6 is a cofactor for the creation and utilization of carnitine. B5, when it's converted to its coenzyme foam in the body, it works directly with carnitine to convert food into ATP. So that's added in our liquid as well. For your sports individualist or your sports enthusiast and your individual who is looking for carnitine to start to encourage the body to burn fat for fuel instead of carbohydrates, the dosing is 3,000 milligrams per day, and it's taken in the morning on an empty stomach all at once. This is a lifestyle choice because it's something that takes a while for this fat burning capacity to be realized, but when it does, it's profoundly effective. N-acetylcysteine, or NAC, is a stable form of the non-essential amino acid cysteine. It is a sulfur-containing amino acid. It acts as a stabilizer for the formation of protein structures. But where things get really exciting with N-acetylcysteine is that it really protects the liver and in a number of ways. First and foremost, it's necessary for the formation of glutathione. In the allopathic community, it's used in the hospitals for a number of reasons. It's an antidote for acetaminophen poisoning or Tylenol poisoning. If an individual has taken too much Tylenol, it will destroy the liver, and it certainly does. They say one of the main reasons for liver transplants is due to acetaminophen poisoning. However, if they can catch it on time, they intravenously feed N-acetylcysteine to the patient, ultimately protecting the liver and saving it from being destroyed. In hospitals, it's also used as a mucolytic agent, breaking up a thick viscosity of the respiratory tract secretions, turns it into liquid. So here's an opportunity to be able to recommend this to customers that come in that can't seem to break up the phlegm in their lungs, perhaps with a cold that they're suffering from, and it has gone to their lungs. Something to consider, perhaps 600 milligrams twice a day or 1,000 milligrams twice a day would be effective in helping to reduce the thickness of the phlegm. It's necessary for the formation of glutathione, as I'd mentioned, and our N-acetylcysteine contains molybdenum and selenium, and so it really points to it being a supporter of the liver, because both molybdenum and selenium are used and are vital in phase 2 of liver detoxification. Taurine is not an amino acid that is one of the 20 proteinogenic amino acids, but it is found freely in nerves and cells and tissues. Taurine is vital in so many aspects of metabolism. It stabilizes cell membranes in the brain and in the heart, and so the implications to this are rather interesting, because they just recently, as late as 2012, found out that taurine rests in the receptors with GABA, and without taurine, GABA can't work properly, or it's not released properly. And so taurine really helps to initiate GABA's creation and utilization. For the heart, I think it's really important to note that taurine generates nerve impulses by aiding the movement of minerals in and out of the cell: potassium, magnesium, sodium, and calcium. And these, without the proper catalyst to generate proper movement of these minerals, then you start to have certain problems. One of them is a regular heartbeat. Many people will say, I've certainly heard them in health food stores as well, say I have a regular heartbeat, my heart is fine, they don't know why I have it, I just have it. And with individuals like that, 9 times out of 10, 3,000 milligrams of taurine once a day on an empty stomach will quickly help these individuals and stop that irregular heartbeat. As I'd mentioned, because it is sort of a twin or a sister or brother with GABA, it modulates the neurotransmitting activity. So it helps in relaxing and giving you effects of relaxing and effect on the mood. It's important for the formation of bile salts, so maybe in addition for individuals who say that their gallbladder, they're not producing enough bile, taurine might be effective in helping with that. GABA is a non-essential amino acid and is found mainly in the human brain and in the eyes. Now, it's synthesized from glutamic acid and in the presence of B6. So without enough B6, your ability to utilize or create GABA is compromised. Major inhibitory neurotransmitter in the brain, and I just spoke about it with its relationship with taurine. It's a neurotransmitter that regulates brain and nerve cell activity. It inhibits the number of neurons that are firing, so we just do not feel the stress response if we have proper amounts of GABA, or at least we don't feel it as aggressively. Taking it as a supplement may help to promote relaxation. It's considered a natural calming agent. GABA is really, it's a natural benzodiazepine. If we think about Valium, Valium works with the same chemical mindset as GABA does, but of course Valium is a chemical and GABA is not. They are both in the benzodiazepine realm. Our number of different GABA SKUs, it's quite remarkable. We have a exceptional amount of GABA. One of them is GABA 250 milligram chewable. It's 90 orange chews. What's exciting about this formula is that every other constituent of the formula supports GABA's utilization, and that's inositol and taurine and of course GABA. 500 milligrams of B6, 500 milligrams GABA with B6, 100 and 200 capsules, GABA 750 milligrams, and of course pure powder. Now, GABA also has a component of human growth hormone stimulation, and so is often taken by athletes and bodybuilders at night, and it also, of course, helps you sleep. 5-HTP is extracted from the bean from the African plant Griffonia simplicifolia. It's an intermediate metabolite between the essential amino acid tryptophan and serotonin. So in this cascade of movement, you have tryptophan that makes 5-HTP. 5-HTP then makes serotonin, and serotonin ultimately makes melatonin. So 5-HTP can have a number of different applications. Yes, it's a natural serotonin booster, and so it helps with depression, anxiety, and stress, and even weight loss, but it also could be a sleep aid for some individuals. 5-HTP will relax the brain, and if you take it along with magnesium at night, then that relaxes the body, and it's proven to be very, very effective and not nearly as aggressive as melatonin can be. Just to touch on the weight loss aspect of 5-HTP, many individuals who are overweight or obese eat out of sadness or eat out of stress, and it's primarily carbohydrate consumption. Interestingly enough, in many of the studies that have been done, 50 milligrams of 5-HTP 3 times a day has shown to stop the stress eating and stop the depression eating, because they no longer are feeling depressed because their serotonin levels have been modulated. 5-HTP will last 4 hours in the body before it leaves, so this is why it's necessary to keep, if one wants to maintain a specific level of serotonin, it's necessary to take 5-HTP about 3 times a day. We probably have the most comprehensive list and formulas available for 5-HTP: 50 milligrams, 100 milligrams in V-caps, and as well as in chewable. We also have 5-HTP in 200 milligram with taurine. This is really a therapeutic punch. We know that 5-HTP, certainly individuals who are low in serotonin are taking serotonin reuptake inhibitors, and they have very bad side effects and often very difficult to come off of. So a couple of cautionary notes here. If individuals are coming into your store and they're looking for 5-HTP, it would be recommended that you ask them if they are on an SSRI, because most individuals on SSRIs don't realize they cannot take 5-HTP. It could be pretty disastrous because you would have an overdose of 5-HTP, or no, overdose of serotonin, pardon me. The 200 milligram with tyrosine is a fantastic mood support because it not only addresses serotonin levels but also dopamine because of the presence of tyrosine. B3 and B6 to help with the utilization as well. And if an individual is trying to go the natural route instead of taking an SSRI, then this would definitely be the formula. And you would start off with 1 in the day, and then maybe you could certainly work your way up to 3 per day with no problem of side effects or issues. SAMe is critical for the component of biochemical reactions. Temporarily alleviates minor joint stress, and also, because it is a synthesis of neurotransmitters, it has been shown to help with mood or mood disorders, and it is critical in liver detoxification. SAMe is the #1 nutrient used in Europe for individuals with liver disease, and our SAMe is enteric coated, very well tolerated. It's protected from degradation by being housed in a dark amber glass bottle. We have studies that have been done with our SAMe in the U.S. from the universities in the U.S. One specific study was done comparing SAMe to Celebrex on relieving joint pain, and SAMe turned out to work equally as good as Celebrex without the side effects. Our SAMe assays are regarded as the industry standard, and this has been set by the Association of Global Chemists. This association is responsible for setting industry standards for pharmaceuticals as well as for natural products, and they have regarded the NOWS assay as the industry standard, and that all other companies should follow our assay recommendations. Available in 100, 200, and 400 milligrams. They are all enteric coated and extremely effective. TrueCalm is a very unique formula from Now. It's a combination that is meant for naturally calming the body. It's for stress, and it works very quickly and immediately. It's a combination of amino acids, neurotransmitters, vitamins, minerals, and herbs. Glycine, taurine, GABA, B6, niacin, inositol, magnesium, and valerian. Natural calming formula, 1 capsule 1 to 3 times daily, taking on an empty stomach. Now Pro-GF is a powder that really was initially something that was designed to support optimal sports performance. It is arginine, ornithine, and glutamine to help rid the body of nitrogen and excess ammonia and help to rebuild muscle tissue. Lysine and glycine. Lysine is important for hormone, enzyme, and collagen production, and glycine in its role in supporting muscle energy output. But this can really be accompanied as a cardiovascular support formula as well. Arginine, ornithine, lysine, glutamine, glycine, and GABA. Yes, it is very, very effective as a sports formula, but once again, a very popular cardiovascular formula as well, simply because of the arginine, ornithine aspect. This is a powder and it's sweetened with stevia and fructose, 1 level teaspoon in water, taken on an empty stomach. Now for the sports individual, they're taking it 20 minutes before bed or before exercise. I would recommend anyone that's using this as a cardiovascular support to take it before bed to ensure that they've had some time without food because of the ornithine content, and you don't want the weight gain. Most people probably do not want the weight gain. 5 days on, 5 days off, 2 days off is recommended. A lot of retail support tools for you in the form of posters, displays, as well as an amino acid brochure. This is a guide that you can order and hand out to your customers or your clients. LIT 93004 is the code, and this gives you the full complete amino acid guide, all of the now brands, all of the now amino acids with the amino acids itself, as well as the health claim based on our NPN numbers. Category building tips, everything from a selection of amino acid sections to separate sections, adding different amino acids to categories or sections based on health attributes, or, for example, cardiovascular disease, blood sugar issues, etc. There's amino acids that are very effective that would be appropriate for all of those sections. Last thing I'll speak to you about tonight is our University, Now Productology. This is exclusive to Now retailers. We do have Now University, but the Productology division is specific for our Now retailers. We've designed all of the trainings specific to retailers in considering what the retailer would want to know about these specific categories. Everything from amino acids to digestion to xylitol, it's all free to the retailer. There's 8 trainings, 60-minute trainings. If you complete all of them, you will receive a certificate of completion at the end. To register, it's the top URL that is on slide number 39. You will register, and once you've registered to access your courses, it's the bottom URL, which is nowuniversity.litmos.com. I'd like to thank you very much for attending this presentation, and I hope that I've been able to give you information that you will be able to use on an ongoing basis with your customers and your clients. Thank you very much, and goodbye.